You know, every now and then we come back to Hearts of Iron 4 after a few years and realize that there is something in the game that nobody touches. Now than the fact I actually did touch this one feature quite recently actually to get an achievement, it's not really that utilized. And I think for the most part, people don't even realize it's there. In fact, we're looking at it right now. You see that? I clicked over here by accident. It seems to have unlocked something. Yeah, it's safe to say I think Paradox were pretty optimistic about the 1939 start date when they first put it in the game's creation. Optimistic that no one would ever use it, so they don't have to keep updating it with the game. Now, other bookmark start dates in Paradox games aren't anything new. There's in fact quite a lot, obviously, throughout their games, and either their newer ones, like CK3, has added new ones with new DLC coming forward. But it's safe to say they are a lot more rigid, and I think it really started with Hoi 4 and let's just say it ended with Hoi 4. I'd be very surprised if EU5 has any. Again, I haven't looked at any of development for EU5, so if they have for some reason actually put in different start dates, I would be incredibly surprised. But it's one of those features in Paradox games that really doesn't need to be in. It would be nice, obviously, to have different start dates, but as the games have had a much longer lifespan than I think originally intended, it's definitely hard to keep them up to date with all the DLCs and new updates that come out for this stuff. Now, Hearts of Iron 4 obviously is not the worst contender for this. EU4 is absolutely horrendous, and the majority of the start dates, I have been told, are pretty damn broken. But with Hoi 4, obviously, there's only one start date, so Paradox does come in and make sure it works every now and again. But it's definitely one of those features in the game that is pretty much completely useless, other than getting yourself the one achievement, which is the 1 week start as Poland and do a certain amount of casualties on the Germans. Considering the game has been updated to run pretty damn well and efficiently now, it's not as laggy as it was on release. Going to 1939 usually doesn't take that long on 5 speed, so starting there, it's just never needed. But last, we've had new DLCs in the game. Specifically, the one I want to really focus on, obviously, is the new German one. And of course, we do have Graveyard of Empires in the game. I'm not too sure how that's going to play into things. And I also want to play as the Soviet Union. Yeah, just remember, everyone, if you could hit the like and subscribe button down below, that'd be really cool and helpful. And 1 million subscribers will do 1939 date A to Z. I'm just gonna keep making up sub goals until one of them sticks. But I'm just saying, you know, if we all hit the sub button right now, we'd be there in 2 seconds. Now, I know what you're saying. Playing as the Soviet Union probably isn't that much of a challenge, right, in 1939. You'd be wrong. Alright, so first thing I want to show off is, oh, look at that, you know, your equipment stockpile doesn't look too bad. You've got a ginormous army. Let me just unpause for a few days and just keep an eye on this stockpile right here. Yeah. Yeah, it's not very good, and also on top of that, you don't really have the best of an industry, not better than what a player could put you through if you were to actually just play to 1939. It's not horrendous, we could definitely still build off this, but we don't have a lot of time to do so because Germans will be coming. I mean, best part is we do have quite a lot of civs here, so I probably won't even bother building that many more, maybe a couple, just to get us going a little bit, because we do have a little bit before the Germans will come in for us, but I do 100% need a few more mills. Obviously, in the 1939 start date, we have a whole bunch of tech already done. The really annoying thing is we obviously don't have any of the air tech done. This is just what the Soviets start with anyway, I believe. So yeah, we're going to have to waste like 3 of our slots right there immediately just getting a plane we can build. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the tech isn't too bad. The plane one's probably the worst offender here. The good thing is we do actually start with radar unlocked, so we can just get to work on building that if we wanted to. But I think the most egregious thing people don't like about the 1939 start date is obviously your focuses are pretty much already selected, but if you're doing a historical Soviet game anyway, it doesn't really matter too much what's been selected here. The only thing I would obviously not do is restore the Cossack units. It's pretty damn useful in every way compared to cohesion. Having that extra organization is always gonna win over cavalry attack and speed. You do get given an absolute ton of political power, so you can just fill out your cabinet completely, even more so than I think you could if you actually just played up until 1939, which is pretty interesting. We do have absolutely loads of horrendous things going on in our country, though, and we will have to slowly figure that one out. But for now, there's nothing we can do. I think we still have to actually take care of Trotsky, though. Is he even in Mexico? Trotsky in Mexico. Trotsky is not in Mexico. Oh, a whole bunch of our generals do actually start by being really damn debuffed. Oh, that's like a lot of them, actually. Ouch. Yeah, I love the fact we actually start with these like facilities. They have actually put them in the game, which means they've gone through the effort of finding them to put down, but they haven't given us any scientists for them. Okay, so obviously we start off with the Germans invading Poland. Kind of funny as well, I'm looking at their economy of conquest. It is up to 73%, so I'm not too sure if that's too horrendous for this time, but if they do get a capitulation on Poland and then obviously for the Benelux, they should get that down pretty quickly. Their economy is obviously pretty damn strong as well. That's the good thing they've got going for them. They don't have a lot of troops though, so we'll see if the Germans can really keep up with anything here. I'm not too sure actually if I'll be able to hold. I haven't tested this out at all, but I think we'll probably be fine. Okay, so I'm not going to go out of my way to delete any of my units. I'm going to keep them around and attempt to refill our stockpile, because I think that'll be a bit more fun than obviously just deleting armies and consolidating. I want to try and find 72,000 guns from somewhere. Alright, so we have about a year to get things really sorted here. I do have high hopes that we don't absolutely bottle this, but you never know. Oh, there we go. Trotsky's gone over to Mexico, so at least we can deal with that thing. Okay, so once we are actually working down our... okay, well, we were working down our stockpile issues. I do actually have to edit these templates so we can hold, which, yeah. That just hurt. Now, another thing is obviously down to what the AI is going to be doing, because we don't want the allies to be getting completely trampled, which they are getting trampled. You know, even if we do really well, we are still kind of going to have to pick up the slack for what the allies might get up to, and I think we're going to have a pretty strong axis here. Okay, so one offensive action is definitely going to be against Finland. We don't want to have to end up dealing with the Finnish continuation war and having another front up here. Oh, there you something. The 1939 start date Finnish AI, not really that much better. And there we go, got ourselves a nice buffer state up there, especially against German-controlled Norway. All right, I'm also just going to go ahead and start building refineries as well, because I'm not too confident about the Allied ability to hold the East against Japan this game. Yeah, just got a strong feeling the Allies ain't too competent today. Okay, dealt with Finland just in time. The Germans are coming in. We've only got a 35k deficit on our weapons. Not great, but I think we should be fine. Okay, we can get rid of some of our horrendous debuffs as well, so we won't be facing too much of a problem here against the Germans. But with our massive stockpile deficit, but we are getting like 300 guns a day, it might be a little bit tricky at the start. I think the worst thing we have going for us though is definitely the Air Force. Only really just got around to pumping planes, and I was just going to take everything off guns when I was able to fill the deficit, but we're going to be a little bit bad on planes for a bit. Okay, and there goes the Germans. We're going to have to see how this goes. I'm pulling a little bit back. I'm not going straight to the river line though, and I will try and hold Romania outright, but yeah, we might have to pull back from there as well. Okay, so this is how far the Germans have managed to really get it. It looks a lot worse than it really is. All of my industry is still pretty much intact. We only lost about 20-30 factories that already start over here, because I have been building obviously way back here. And we have tired the Germans down to a bit of a halt here, but I think they could still push a little bit further. The only important thing is obviously we are still producing equipment, which we are. I even upgraded my guns all the way to 3 now. We're going to bunker down for a bit, and then we'll try our pushback. Good news is I did get Turkey in my faction by doing the pressure events, decisions, intervention in the Balkans thing. Here you go, this thing here. So now my best friend is Turkey, and I shall never dare to invite them to this war, because it will be over very quickly. The Allies have made a bit of a comeback over in the Middle East as well, which is kind of a good sign. It'd be nice if they could actually get that sorted, but the Japanese are moving into Burma there. Hopefully they don't get far. Okay, so whilst the front over here isn't moving that much, they did push up a little bit more right up into Leningrad. I am now building a offensive army behind the lines here, where I'm hopefully going to start pushing probably down in the south, where there's not too much. Well, you know, that's not very nice. He's declared on Tanatuva. Oh, yeah, here we go. They're also going in on Finland. I should be okay, actually. Just take my little defense of Leningrad army over here and just go put that up there instead. Okay, our new army has been built behind the lines, and I don't think they're going to see this one coming. Oh, yeah, we also managed to push them out over in Norway. At least we did. We can't get any further than that, I reckon. We probably could if I wanted to put the effort into it, but that's fine for now. I think we should just focus on actually pushing the Germans out down here. It's really easy and fun to push along the coast down here, specifically if you've been pushed this far in as well, because you can get so much supply just by building ports along the coast as you move. Compared to fighting like over here in these pockets where supply is already pretty tricky, yeah, I'll take down here. Oh, there he goes. Look at the green. That worked a lot better than I thought it did. In fact, we are still going right now. I think we've got them pretty much caught retreating, and we're not even beating them in the air, which is the most astonishing thing here. They're screwed. You know, a whole bunch of the south liberated. I do want to go ahead and get up to here as well. It's going to be a bit trickier because the Germans have a lot of supply, and I don't have any supply up here. We're going to try push them back in the center here too. Now, I didn't build like any airports as well. I tried not to build a single airport over in our land on the west over here, just because I knew it was only going to benefit the Germans, as I didn't have an air force. I mean, we had the starting Soviet air force, but as you could probably tell, didn't do us too well. Dang, okay, shout out to Turkey, by the way. I'm assuming Tanatuva or someone else called them in whenever the Germans actually declared on them, but they've actually just landed in Romania. All right, the Allies are also doing their landings over here too. Not too sure how successful they're gonna be, but I imagine if I'm pushing in the east, they're also gonna be able to push in the west. All right, I got an idea. And it ain't gonna be pretty. So if you can't tell what the plan is, we're just gonna push straight to the coast over here and ignore all these German troops. There we go. So technically these troops aren't encircled. They do have naval access still, but I do have a few submarines, not a lot left, that are still gonna be raiding all those convoys of them trying to get out. Now I would love to obviously collapse that into an actual encirclement, but I think we've got a bit of a race to Berlin on. Although that does make our front line very cursed currently, just looking at this, but not as cursed to whatever's happening down there in Bulgaria. Now, after this, we are obviously going to have to go deal with Japan, who are still kicking about and making gains. Yeah, a little unfortunate, though. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, that's all that's left of the Soviet Navy in the Baltics. So I guess we'll have to figure out the Navy situation in a minute. Oh, man, you know, I completely forgot about casualties as well. 3.3 million. You know, I was actually expecting to take a lot more than that. And the fact we've done 6 million on the Germans, not bad at all. Yeah, I would love to know how the UK has done like 500,000 casualties on Greater Hungary, though. Where on earth were they fighting? All right, we are closing the pockets over here as well. We are literally about to be in Berlin in a second. Turkey, what are you doing? Well, there we go. Berlin down. I'm pretty sure that'll be it for the Axis now. I'm sure we only have to capitulate the Germans. Yep. So once we get those capitulated, that will be that for the Axis. You know, it was a little bit more difficult than I thought it might be. And there are most certainly better ways I could have held that defense. But, you know, considering we didn't realistically lose that much, I had all my industry back here, you know. Gotta say, it's still a win. Plus, I do think the most fun you can actually have as a Soviets game is to actually do like a full hold like that. It's definitely the most enjoyment you can really get. Yeah, at least for me. Personally, I think being on the defensive is probably the most exhilarating way to play Hoi 4. That's right, boys. Put that in the Steam review. Exhilarating. It's obviously nice when you're on the offensive too, but you know, the AI is not exactly hard, so if you put yourself in a more precarious situation and you're actually holding out against what essentially is a buffed AI, it is definitely a lot more fun and enjoyable, a bit more of a challenge. I know specifically you can get better versions, or I guess more enjoyable versions of a scenario like this by a lot of mods. I mean, the most common one, or most popular one, was definitely NSEG, obviously, if you were playing one of the like mid dates, but it's kind of a reverse scenario for most of NSEG though, because you obviously play the Germans. But yeah, I think the 1939 start date, you know, if you're looking for a good Soviet hold, this could be the best thing you could get, especially because I don't think NSEG ever gets updated. Okay, well, we have succeeded, and for all of the blood of our fallen comrades, I expect quite a bit of land here. Oh, I only just realized, actually, the Siamese Empire was in the Axis. I also forgot to take this one Romanian state over here. So Romania lives on in one state. Hey, there we go, though. We kind of went for a historical peace conference, at least the most I could do there, other than the one state of Romania, which the UK didn't even take in the end, by the way. They just left them there. I love when the AI does that so damn much. Okay, but no rest for us. We now need to take our main army. I did delete my other defensive army because I don't think we need it, and we need to go east because there is still a giant Japan out there. Okay, now I did also take what was ever left of the navies, so I'm gonna just group those up and hopefully it'll be enough to deal with Japan. But actually, we may still be in for a good time with Romania here because I can promote ideological rallies in their country to flip them over to... Oh, they're coming home. I mean, realistically, what else are you gonna do over there? You're literally surrounded by me. Well, you know, it's not exactly what I call the best navy in the world, but it will have to do. Oh, actually, you know, it does look like the Japanese navy is pretty much beaten at this point, other than their heavy ships, which we don't have to worry about anyway, but their screens are definitely not exactly looking perfect. There you go. So I'll just reinforce my navy with just some crappy screens, and we should be good enough to destroy Japan and whatever's left of their navy, because I do want to push all the way through China before I land in Japan, and hopefully the Allies don't do landing before I managed to do that. Oh, actually, I only just realized Spain's... Spain, why would you willingly do that to yourself? Oh, now you're just getting humiliated by being invaded by the Dutch and Brazilians. Okay, in we come, Japan. Oh, by the way, if there's any other nations you'd like to see me try and check out and save in the 1939 start date, let me know down below, because it'll be interesting to know if you guys actually are aware of any other that are kind of tricky to play or have fun with. I think we might actually do a Germany one at some point, because I think they could be equally as hard. I do want to say, I don't think the Japanese are really ready for this Soviet invasion, but they are getting absolutely destroyed. In fact, how many casualties have they taken against the Allies so far? 2.7 million. I actually thought it'd be a lot more than that. I mean, 1 million to the Americans as well. I imagine they've just been grinding it out down here in Burma, actually. There you go. I sent an attaché over to the Indians because Churchill doesn't really like me that much. And actually, no, this is a pretty tame front. I mean, obviously, the supply isn't great, but I was expecting a lot worse. Oh, okay, UK has landed over in Japan now, which means this could come to a very quick end. I'm not going to help them out there. We're just going to let them do whatever they're gonna do. We're just gonna keep fighting in China. I have no idea where the Japanese fleet is, or currently hiding, or if it actually still exists. I don't know. No, it's still there, but it does not want to come out and fight my mighty, quote-unquote, Soviet Navy. These are Russian names. We like Rome. And Blucher. The Chinese Republic. Where the hell did you... It's a British supervised state. Oh, I reckon okay, so I think the Germans probably had they had their colonial holding back. The British released Chinese Republic over there. Okay. Oh, the mighty leader of the Chinese Republic, Kwang Hu. Apparently, he's a hawk. I mean, you can hawk to you want, mate, but you just look like a guy to me. Okay, reorganized China has capitulated. It looks like the Allies might be right on the verge of getting the Japanese to capitulate as well, so I think we're pretty much done here. Okay, first things first, obviously we want North Korea. Oh, and of course we want the heartland of the Chinese Republic. We're taking that back. Oh, I definitely think we have just confused the situation in China by even more level. Hey, that's not my problem, because we are very much done with this game today. So yeah, once again, that was the 1939 start date. And, you know, it's nice to come have a look at it every now and again just to see how they do keep it up with the patches. And obviously, I didn't really notice anything that was too broken about it, other than the your massive deficit you started as a Soviet. But let me know any weird stuff you'd like to see me have a go at in the 1939 start date. I think I will come and try a German game at some point next, but if you know any others, feel free to let me know down below. I would really like to know, because I like the idea of looking at this bookmark because it is very silly. But yeah, anyway, hi gravy babies.